Hello, my name is Paul Abner. Today's presentation is an interesting one from the standpoint of how important is the titling of assets. What do I mean by that? Well, believe it or not, titling of assets has a profound impact in terms of how assets transfer and how assets are construed, both from a tax point of view as well as from the transfer. So depending upon how an asset is transferred will dictate how that asset gets transferred at the time of death and how that asset is viewed from an income tax planning point of view. So husbands and wives are unique in terms of the type of assets that they have and how they're titled. The legal terminology, which I'm going to bore you to tears, is called tenants by the entirety. Well, what does that mean? Forget about the legal terminology. Just understand this, that if a husband and wife own something and they're legally married, that at the time of death, that asset gets transferred automatically to the surviving spouse. No taxes, no probate, doesn't matter what the will says, because the titling of assets actually controls, which many people don't quite understand. They can have a will that says, well, at the time of my death, I want everything to go to my child or my grandchild. But if all your assets are jointly titled, the will or the revocable trust is a worthless legal document. So unless there's continuity and conformity with the titling of assets and the legal documentation, many of your plans that you've set out to accomplish may not come to play. So understand that assets that are titled between a husband and wife will transfer automatically to that surviving spouse. Assets that are titled joint tenants with rights of survivorship is exactly the same thing as tenants by the entirety, except it's not a husband and wife. It could be, an individual and a grandchild. It could be an individual and or any family member or non-family member for that matter. So if you have a specific asset that has with rights of survivorship, typically in a real estate format, that asset will transfer automatically to that individual. No probate. Taxes may be an issue because it's no longer husband and wife. So again, there are a complexity of different aspects that need to be considered. Can I set up a bank account and have that bank account automatically transferred to a child or a grandchild? Yes, you can do that. Those are commonly referred to as POD or TOD accounts. What does that stand for? The acronym is payable on death or transfer on death. So you can have an asset that transfers automatically to a particular individual depending upon how your financial company has prepared the necessary documentation. But they're common. So any financial company that you're dealing with, whether it's a bank or a brokerage house, will typically have a POD or TOD transfer forms that you can designate where those assets get transferred. Is there any probate? No probate. Is it efficient? It can be. Does it address possible issues regarding asset protection or creditors or predators of divorce? No. Does it address tax issues? No. But is it easy? Yes, it's easy. Is easy always the best? I'm not sure. That's where your individual subjective considerations come into play. If you have a revocable trust, which is designed to avoid probate, if your assets are not titled in the name of the John Smith Revocable Trust, that revocable trust is a worthless document. I can't tell you how many attorneys create revocable trusts for their clients, charge good fees to create those revocable trusts, but don't do the most important aspect of the job, which is to make sure that the assets are titled in a revocable trust. The real estate, the brokerage accounts, the CDs, the money market accounts. So it's only half the job. This engagement can be done on the internet. You don't need Paul Labiner to assist you in that process. However, Paul Labiner or somebody competent in this area is aware of the nuances, the additional issues that may befall an individual or family that should be considered in conjunction with the legal documents itself. So please give me a call. Be happy to discuss these issues with you. And thank you for joining me today. Have a great day.